What's going on, fellow CineNerds?
I'm JP.
And I'm Ryan. And we have a wonderful, wonderful pick today. This is one of my picks.
Do we?
Really?
No.
Anyways, Event Horizon is the name of this movie. This movie is a really, really, I think it's a solid sci-fi / horror film. And I'm really excited to review this and dig into it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good movie. Initial reactions.
I was so bummed for a minute. I'm like, I thought JP would have loved this.
I mean, I have seen this movie a number of times, and I have watched it this past year at some point too, and I rewatched it last night. And I remember when I rewatched it this past year, and I think I even told you when you said you were selecting this movie, or we had talked about this movie at some point, that a lot of the special effects do not hold up in this film, and I stand by that.
I don't.
I do, and I'm going to explain why.
Me too.
I'm going to explain why. But initial reactions, it's a good movie. I mean, essentially, this movie is Hellraiser in space.
Yes, that's exactly what I've said.
Is essentially what this movie is. Now, my problem with the CGI, there is some bad CGI in this film, like especially with the floating, the zero gravity stuff you see once they get to the Event Horizon. And I compare this because it came out, I believe they came out about the same time. Pandorum.
No, Pandorum was a little later.
Was a little, but regardless, even if it was a little later,
Pandorum was like early 2000s.
Again, still, with Pandorum was primarily practical effects, and it looks so much better. And even if you go back to Alien, practical effects, it looks so much better than some of the stuff we visually saw in Event Horizon.
So, as an older movie now, I actually went in this movie and I was like, I'm really gonna watch the effects because I knew you were gonna say that. So I kind of went with the vibe of, okay, what am I getting myself into? And the version they have on Prime to watch is actually the current updated 4K version. Everything was good. And so in that process, because I had only seen it twice before, still was one of my favorite movies, but I hadn't gone back in for a rewatch. So this rewatch to me was the first time in 20-some years. And with that said, I was pleasantly happy with how it had aged. And there was nothing that was so granular that I was like, fuck this. Like, I enjoyed it. So
I did not watch an updated 4K version.
Okay. They did remaster it and make it way better, and it's so good.
I've not watched a remastered version of this. Maybe I need to watch a remastered version because the version I watched was not. And it was the theatrical original release that I watched, and it's just... And it's not that it doesn't entirely hold up. It's just the same complaint that I always have. I mean, I see even modern CGI. When I look at CGI, I know it's not real, and I love practical effects. And some of the stuff I would have rather seen in practical effects versus CGI. But a lot of films during this time period was using CGI. And, they were diving into CGI head first. And so I get why.
In a later episode, there's another movie, which I'll discuss in that episode when we get there. But one of my favorite horror films of all time is something coming up in one of our episodes that we review. And I'll tell you what, man. It's a sequel. And the end of that and the end of the first one are equally as bad, both of them, in CGI.
Oh, yeah.
So to me,
I know what you're talking about.
So to me, using that as a template, I'm like, just because that was really bad, this is leaps and bounds above that and better. So I'm cool in that regard. And let's be honest, where we're going, you don't need eyes to see.
No, you don't.
That's a quote from Weir, who's one of the characters. Sorry,
but even the gouged out eyes CGI looked a little wonky
I mean, yeah, I'm not too. I mean, even in the when he sees his wife without eyes in the dream sequence, I was okay with that. That's what it is.
Okay.
That stuff didn't bother me. This one was more story driven for me, and just alone the fact that this film was originally 130 minutes, and the critics and the test audience, they felt it was too gory and too violent, and Paramount ordered that it be cut by 30 minutes. So I would love to see an unrated, uncut version of this. I'd love a director's cut at some point. It'd be amazing.
The unfortunate thing is you'll never see it. There's been multiple movies like that were cut for those reasons, and we'll never see them. I mean, you look at Wes Craven's Cursed. There was a whole other alternate version of that film that the studio thought was too gruesome and too violent. They made him reshoot the whole film. The same thing happened with the Thing prequel. You know, they did all this amazing practical effects, and then the studio said, no, we want to add CGI. And they redid the practical effects with CGI, and it looked cheap and generic, and it wasn't good. So that's an unfortunate thing a lot of times with the studios and test screenings. You know, they listen to the handful of people who probably didn't care about seeing a film like what they wanted Event Horizon to be, and they complained and they changed it.
I was bummed out. I want that gore.
I would have preferred that version.
I mean, to me, after you have Terrifier 2 or Terrifier 1 for that matter, both of them, you have films like those with mass amounts of gore and mass amounts of success. Reissue this shit. Put it out with the director's cut. Give us that, and you know people are going to buy it. And I'll preface this too. So you said The Thing. I have to mention this because this is huge to me. So Anderson is the name of the director. He screened this for Kurt Russell right before Kurt Russell filmed Soldier. And Russell said, forget about what this movie is doing now. In 15 years' time, this is going to be the movie you're glad you made. And I think that's exactly right, because this is one of those movies that I do feel like it developed a cult following as it grew. I do feel like it aged well, like a fine wine, if you will. And so that really made me happy to hear that Russell was that vested in it too.
Well, and okay, let's just, before we even get into the synopsis here, let's get into Paul W.S. Anderson. Let's just dive into this writer-director. And
well, I'm not familiar, so I mean, I probably will be once you start reading these.
Oh, you will be.
Okay, so
you will be.
Let's go,
because he has done a lot of shit movies, and he's also done some pretty fucking cool movies. He's done some movies that I actually generally think are fun and I like, but they're original Mortal Kombat.
Okay, definitely got a little bit of a bad rap, but.
He did Soldier.
Right.
He did Resident Evil.
Now, hold on. Rewind before you go further than that. That's what I wanted to ask you. You referenced Soldier before on one of our episodes because the set was left over from something else?
No, it's loosely in the same universe as Blade Runner.
Oh. Well, Blade Runner's in the Alien universe, so that's weird.
Yeah, it's loosely in the same universe as Blade Runner. Yeah, and it's kind of left in the movie unknown if he's like an android, because the soldier's kind of emotionless. Kurt Russell's character is emotionless.
Okay.
So yeah, he did Resident Evil. He did Alien vs. Predator.
I enjoyed that actually.
He did Death Race, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, that was
that was the reboot of Death Race. I also have the unpopular opinion. I think the ones after the first one with Jason Statham are better than the one with Jason Statham. He did Resident Evil Retribution. He did The Three Musketeers. He did Monster Hunter, which what a piece of shit that was.
I think I fell asleep.
Yeah. So he's done some of these movies, and it's some of those movies that I love, but I kind of hate at the same time. Like Mortal Kombat, I love it, but I kind of hate it. Resident Evil, I love it, I kind of hate it.
As somebody who played the games, the first Resident Evil captured the vibe. It was good. I got to give it credit. It is.
Yeah, but you missed the mark with none of the characters from the game. But
I get what you're saying. But you got to look at it like that. Like when we read books and comic books and how they translate to screen. Same with video games. Video games have the same problem. It's never going to translate the way we want it. So I was good with the story being told how it did.
Yeah. So, but that's Paul W.S. W. Anderson or W.S. Anderson, however you say his name. He's done a bunch of science fiction horror films, and some of them most of them you just don't know he's the one that did them.
You're all going to die down here. Sorry, just popped in my head from that. That was a great moment. Yeah, so like for me, something to throw back to, because we're things you don't think of. I've talked about this before, and I had to look it back up. So Jack Noseworthy, I want to make sure I say the actor's name correctly. He played Justin in Event Horizon. He played the character of Ed Bellamy on a show called Dead at 21. That was on MTV years ago.
I was meaning to look his that actor up last night, and I did not. It was something I was going to do today, and I didn't get time to, because I knew I recognized, and it's not that, but I recognized him from something, and I could not place it.
He has a recurring role for the last few years that's been on one of the CSIs or something like that.
Yeah, I don't watch that either.
I don't
watch that either. I'm going to pull his IMDb up right now.
Go ahead.
But talking about actors in this film.
I got a whole list of things.
Yeah, so and I've mentioned this in the past, and I think I quizzed you on this. So the pilot, Sean Pertwee,
is Alfred from Gotham.
He is Alfred from Gotham. However, his father is John Pertwee, the third Doctor.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about this.
Yep.
I do remember that. You made me really incredibly happy when I heard that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
he is the son of John Pertwee, who was the third Doctor, Doctor Who.
Son of a Pertwee.
Yep. And it has a great cast.
I mean, it does. Lawrence Fishburne as Captain Miller. You got Sam Neill, who's Weir. You got Jason Isaacs, who played DJ. I think that was one of the earlier roles for him.
It had to be.
Yeah, he was excellent. So yeah, I like this whole cast. I was not put off by any of them.
Yeah, it has. I've got the IMDb open right now, but the girl from Nip Tuck, Julie Richardson. She was in Nip Tuck. And obviously you have Sam Neill, who just not long before that came off of Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park 3.
Which at this time, because it's funny you said Pandorum, because Randy Quaid was in Pandorum.
Dennis Quaid,
my bad.
Yeah,
definitely different. Dennis Quaid, sorry. But Dennis Quaid gave me Sam Neill vibes in the Cross, because those two kind of seem similar.
A bit, yeah.
Did you know there was a fire on the set?
Did not know there was a fire on the set.
So, when they were filming the Gravity Drive sequence on fire, it actually caught on fire. And when it caught on fire, they had to delay filming, and then they rebuilt the set, used what was left around to film the remainder of what they had to, but they ended up, everything they rebuilt, they only used for one additional day of filming after they did it. So when you see the estimated budget at the end of this, you understand why when we get there. But,
okay. So let's just get a quick synopsis of this movie for anybody who has not seen this movie.
Do you want to, or do you want me?
Your movie.
Right.
Your movie.
So essentially, there is a ship called the Event Horizon. It is. It was sent out to. It's basically a jump ship, if you will. They're experimenting with dimensional, or not. They were trying to do traveling. Fast
they were trying
stars,
to
like Stargate style.
Yeah, They were trying to open a black hole to jump from one point to another.
Well, I don't think it was a black hole they were intending on, but that's what they found.
Yeah.
And so it was supposed to be like a jump where it could jump from point A to point B in space in a quick amount of time.
Yeah, they're basically wanting to warp to space.
Yes. In turn, I don't know when they arrive. So there's a ship that's sent out that is the Lewis and Clark. And Lewis and Clark is captained by Lawrence Fishburne's character, Miller. They bring this crew together with Weir on board, which no one knows till later on, but he's the person who designed and built the Event Horizon. So he is the foremost expert because none of the other crew can understand why he's on this ship. And when they arrive at the ship, at the Event Horizon, I can't remember if it caused the black hole or if it was sitting on the edge of a black hole. I don't remember which of those.
No, they were orbiting. It wasn't Jupiter. It was.
There was a black hole when they arrived. I thought, isn't there?
No. The I don't remember a black hole when they arrived. They arrived, and
I'm thinking of the end.
There is a black hole at the end
Yeah,
when it jumps.
I was mixing it.
When they arrive, the Justin character goes to that warp drive, and it stops and opens a portal to where it's to where everything goes.
So essentially, as the events unfold, whatever's coming across, whatever's coming through, in this, there's essentially, what is it? It's like I can't remember the name they used for it. It was like the eye. It was basically that rotating sphere.
Yeah, I can't. It was basically like a warp drive. It was not really a warp drive, but it was something similar.
When all the rings line up,
the rings keep it contained in like a magnetic field. But when they line up,
the gate opens. And what's on the other side is really an unknown variable. Just presented as the darkness. It's presented as an evil, unlike anything we've known. Might even be hell. One of the quotes is from Weir. There's a point where Weir goes crazy in this, and he says, "You know nothing. Hell is only a word. The reality is much, much worse." And I love when he says that. Like the abilities to use that in sampling or whatever you need to use is just endless. I love it. But anyways, as this event unfolds, you find out Weir has more vested in this mission than he's leading on to. He's almost borderline gone insane before they've even gotten near the darkness and the black hole, because he's tormented by whatever happened to transpire between him and his wife. I don't know if he left her behind on Earth. I don't know if she died.
What I understood from so basically, the ship at this point, it went through this black hole warp to what essentially is they're perceiving as hell, or a type of hell. And when the ship comes back, essentially the ship has took on a life of its own.
Yes.
So it starts showing visions to the crew. Weir sees
in their head.
Yeah, Weir sees his wife committing suicide. So, and I perceived this as, because he's in there, it's showing him there, and he's begging her not to do it, but obviously this is like a flashback, and he's not really there, and he's apologizing for not being there with her or for her. And so my assumption was he was taking so much time building and working on the Event Horizon that he was not home. He was not there. And she fell into a depression, and she committed suicide.
But in this darkness, in this evil, he sees a path because of how it's talking to him, where she's still there and he's able to have a second chance. So inlays his spiral, if you will. All the crew experiences something to this effect. Mr. Jason Isaacs, who plays DJ. DJ, he's not a religion person by any means, but he starts uncovering little things along the way that make him question everything. There's a black box, and when they find the black box, they're trying to decipher what they're hearing in it. They don't quite know. It's like tormented screams and things going on. And
they're speaking in Latin.
They are.
They're speaking in Latin, and he actually understands Latin.
But he he didn't translate what was being said because he didn't have a clear picture of it. So originally he thought it was saying "Liberate me,
save me,"
but it was saying "Liberate tutmet," which means save yourself.
Yeah.
And so he was basically, once he read that, he basically thought, we're in deep shit, we're in trouble.
He was basically, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yes, he's trying to tell them that. And the things start happening to the Lewis and Clark that's docked onto the Event Horizon, and eventually the Lewis and Clark is no more.
And I'll say, Lawrence Fishburne has one of my favorite lines in this movie. And it's a
fuck you moment.
It's a simple line when he's looking at Sam Neill's character, Weir, and he's saying, "Oh, we can't leave this ship," and blah blah blah, all this stuff. Lawrence Fishburne is basically saying, "Yeah, we're getting off this ship. Get your shit now. We're leaving. Fuck this ship." And that is the most real performance thing you could say in that situation is "fuck this ship. We're getting the fuck out of here."
I'm going to read this exact quote because it's so good. It's well worth it for sure. Let's see. Bear with me.
And now he's not going to find it.
No, yeah, watch. Go ahead and talk while I'm being quiet.
So, continue the synopsis. They're trying to get off the ship. He already said, they blow the ship. They cause the Lewis and Clark ship it ends up getting exploding. At this point, they're stuck. They're absolutely stuck on the Event Horizon. Sam Neill's character does activate the warp machine or whatever we want to call it. I'm not even sure what to call it. The black hole device, whatever we would decide to go with. It has it on a timer, and they do decide to separate the ship because it can be separated. There's explosives in the middle of the ship to separate it, kind of like Star Trek style. For the front's like a lifeboat,
right?
And
which is I want Star Trek style because it's practical.
It's practical. Go ahead.
I was just going to read the quote. So it's between Dr. Weir and Captain Miller, and Dr. Weir goes, "Captain, don't do this." Captain Miller, "It's done." Weir, "What about my ship? You can't just leave her." And then Captain Miller goes, "I have no intention of leaving her, Doctor. I will take the Lewis and Clark to a safe distance, and then I will launch TAC missiles at the Event Horizon until I'm satisfied she's vaporized. Fuck the ship."
Yeah, that's
that
right.
Was spectacular.
Yeah.
And I think most people listening to this will understand that Lawrence Fishburne has a presence about him anytime he's on screen where he just has this domineering,
he has that low tone voice. It's
confident, relaxed at all times, delivering, and I appreciate him as an actor, but when he said that line and he was pissed, it was so good. You could see it.
It's the most real quote in a movie you could, if any of you are in that same situation, that's exactly what you're going to want to do is get off this fucking ship, get away from it. I'm going to blow this goddamn ship out of the fucking sky or space. Fuck it. Fuck this ship. It was absolutely perfect.
Outstanding. Outstanding, in fact. No, one of the other scenes I really enjoyed, too, is the med bay scene.
Mm-hmm.
Which character was that?
Which med bay scene? Because there's a couple
where he's up by his tendons and his
that's
trails.
That's the guy that translated to Latin.
Yeah, it was so Jason Isaacs.
Yeah,
DJ.
Jason Isaac. Yeah,
DJ was the character. So you don't see it happening. I'm guessing it's part of that 30 minutes that was cut out. But essentially, by the time Captain Miller gets into the med bay and Weir and DJ have already had an interaction, you see him going at Weir, and then it goes away. By the time it comes back, Miller's walking into the med bay, and he just sees it looks like he's almost strung up by his own entrails from the ceiling with everything open. It's pretty brutal, and it definitely was the first real moment like that, combined with the eyes scenes where the eyes are out of the sockets. Absolutely agree with you about Hellraiser in space, because these moments, and even the quote that in reality it's much, much worse, that I feel like Pinhead could have said that.
Yeah,
I feel like Doug Bradley could have done that.
There's lines in this that Pinhead could have said. I mean, when it comes down to it, for me, the event horizon is the puzzle box, like a living, breathing puzzle box, and Sam Neill's character becomes Pinhead, and is essentially is the idea of the comparison to Hellraiser.
So, what the fuck was I just? Sorry, I got excited when you said Cenobite. No, it's gone. It flew away.
Okay. Well, let's talk about one of my favorite things about this movie.
Let's go.
That when Lois and Clark blows up, is it Jackson? That character?
Oh yeah.
he gets blown. He's on the outside of the Lois and Clark whenever it explodes. So he's still magnetically attached to the hull, and is flying through space. He blows his air tanks to basically Superman fly back to the event horizon. Everybody thinks he's dead, and Sean Pertwee's character is dead, and which is Smith.
Yes.
And he shows back up.
Just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time. You know, it was like, let me the fuck in. And I was so happy that Jackson survived this ordeal.
Cooper. Yeah, that's the character's name.
Cooper, yeah. I was thinking Jackson. I don't know why I was thinking Jackson.
I was looking to see if there's even a Jackson here.
I probably am just thinking.
No, yeah,
I'm probably thinking of Justin and.
I get it. See a black guy and you say Jackson. I get it. No, I'm just. And to.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Anyways, love how we get off topic. We're good for that. One of the things about this movie too that going along those lines, for the time that this was made, I was shocked to see the stereotype not fall into place where the black person gets killed first.
No, he don't. He lives. I was, and that's where I was going. I was so happy.
It's a '97 movie.
I was happy he lived because I liked his character. His character, he was a little bit of a comic relief, but he was actually he was the guy that was supposed to go out and do the dangerous shit to save people if shit popped off, and he was actually one of my favorite characters in the movie.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I liked him for sure. I forgot about that until you said that. He did have his logical approach to how to handle the situation as it happened, and he stuck outside of the ship was pretty impressive too. So that stuff all chalked. I'm one of those people who like if we complain about the fire in space angles from like Acolyte and things like that in previous episodes. That's one of those things where like I want to see things kind of be a little more in line. I look for those things, and everything he did was, you know, outside of the fires in space in this one too.
Yeah,
is pretty on point though for how he handled it. So I was a fan. Let's see. Real Sight, I already covered that. Soundtrack on this one. Soundtrack put me back for a minute because I really didn't expect to hear such good samples of songs.
It was very late 1990s, early 2000s even.
The main song is Funky Shit from Prodigy.
Yeah.
I was like, because that kind of gave you that hype, like like it built up. And then you go to a complete opposite. Beastie Boys' Root Down is in there. I was like, what? This is great. So it was interesting.
So the ending, so we're already kind of give a brief description of the movie. The ending when they blow the front of the ship away from the rear and make the little lifeboat. They leave. You have Samuel Jackson, Lawrence Fishburne fighting Sam Neill's character, and basically at this point, Sam Neill's character Weir, he basically has superpowers. Did you notice that? It was just
he's manhandling.
Yeah, he's picking the captain up by his throat, just throwing him around, manhandling
standing upright, picking him up in the air. And Lawrence Fishburne's a big dude. So like, and Sam Neill or Ware, and this is not. So yeah, that was impressive. Trying to think of what her name is. Who's the girl that? Where was it? It was Holly Shant, the actress that played Claire, that we were talking about. Dude, she got killed brutally.
Oh yeah,
she dropped through the floor and just dropped into the water underneath the discs, warp drive, whatever we're calling it. And I mean, that was one of my other things too. Like, she fell through there and she landed in that water, and then her body just like disappeared. Like, it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah. When they're fighting, that body's not there.
No, it's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did something with it or what. I don't know, because who knows?
It never really explained.
Yeah, maybe they put her through the portal. I don't know.
Maybe it was part of that 30 minutes that was cut.
Maybe. I don't know. So basically, for me, this movie, as somebody who loves horror and sci-fi, bringing these two together, it's an action-packed movie, start to finish. There's a little bit of dull time in the beginning when they're just figuring out everything and they're getting from point A to point B. It's good all around for me. I liked it. It's not a perfect 5 by any means, but it's definitely it's up there. It's a solid movie for me.
I enjoy this movie. I enjoy Lawrence Fishburne in this movie a lot. I enjoy him a lot. I enjoyed the what'd you say his name was? The guy that
Jack Noseworthy?
The guy that was blown into space and
Cooper.
Cooper, thank you. I enjoyed the Cooper character a lot. I enjoyed some of the scenes. We didn't talk about it, but like the scene with Justin, I enjoyed that scene a lot where he's in the pressure chamber to go outside.
That was solid.
And he's basically possessed, and then all of a sudden he wakes up
and he's like, "Guys, come on, guys,
he's
this
like,
is funny."
Yeah.
He's
getting ready to be shot out into space with no spacesuit on, and but he lives. He actually lived. Well, no, at the end of the movie, he lives.
He did, but he was unconscious.
He's all fucked up, but he's alive.
Yeah. If they had gone further with this and done more, I'm wondering if he would have been what brought it back or something.
Maybe. I think for me, this movie is good. I think the story's it's a fun story. Some of the characters, it's got a great cast. I mean, you can't deny this cast.
Cast is solid.
However, again, I'm going to say this is Hellraiser in space, and we actually already had Hellraiser in space with Hellraiser Bloodlines to an extent.
But this was better. Bloodlines was meh. There's some good story points to Bloodlines.
There's some really good story points.
But that's it.
In Bloodlines. And then on the flip side of this, a couple of years later, you get Pandorum, and I think Pandorum's a better movie.
I mean, I do too, but it's probably a 6 to 8 year difference. I'm going to find this out.
Yeah, look it up.
Or look it up. But I mean, given that is a lot of time in movie industry to include 2009. So
was it that? Yeah. I didn't think it was that much older. Or
I knew it was later. I just didn't know what. So I mean, it's got substantial tech improvements and
that's
everything.
Fair.
So
that's fair. I was thinking that Pandorum was within a few years. That's fair, because I mean you're over a decade later.
Pandorum and Event Horizon are why I had no problem binging playing Dead Space.
That's fair.
I don't know if you played Dead Space, but it's such a good fucking game.
And I'm saying this, with Hellraiser Bloodlines and Pandorum, just because I think personally they're better films. But that's not me saying I don't like Event Horizon. I do actually really like Event Horizon.
Oh no, I do too. And I try and consider those things when I know you're going to be like, well, this didn't age well. So I try and consider those things.
Yeah, and I think the movie ages well. I just think some of the effects don't age well.
If you get a chance, try and check out the 4K copy.
I will,
because it's worth it, and it is streaming that way on Prime. So,
all right. So, are we already at the review time?
And we're already at the review time. See, when we don't have our comedic relief.
Yeah.
Way to go, James.
Thanks, James.
Oh my gosh. We need to get like a dummy, James.
We're going to back this camera up. We're going to build a James in this chair over here.
Oh, my God. I could put the talking Deadpool head on top of it and just have random commentary. I think we're on to something here.
Oh, we need a basketball jersey, guys.
Basketball jersey, if you want to donate, we'll take it in advisement. And then we'd need, a hockey jersey for little Nicky? Oh.
We can do a bucket of Popeye's chicken over there.
All right. I thought we were coming in for a fat joke. I was ready.
So, well, before we get to our review, let's talk about, because you've got I won't even look it up because you've got the numbers someplace. The box office.
So first of all, what do you think the budget was?
$60 million.
Well, I told you.
Well, no, I looked it up.
Oh, okay. It had estimated budget of 60 mil.
Yeah.
And going back to what I said about the set being destroyed because of the fire, I'm wondering if that factored into that cost and why it says estimated. But worldwide box office, you looked that up too?
Yeah, it was $27 million. And
Right.
like the international was only like $700 or something like that.
What?
Yeah. Like most of the box office was domestic. And from what I saw, it looked like maybe it was released like for some kind of screening, maybe in Australia.
Yeah, it looked like something. I couldn't read the language that it said, but I know what you mean.
I saw something when I looked it up on Box Office Mojo that said Australia.
I'm wondering if worldwide box office is the year it came out only, or if it's like I'm wondering what it's made to this date, because the cult classic aspect of it coming back in and people checking it out later. And
I don't know what the DVD Blu-ray sales were on this, but that should be total buy. Like even if it was but I doubt this has ever had a re-release.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, it lost money, which is I'm sure why we didn't see Event Horizon 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. I mean, that actually would make a good independent story. They could probably do it a lot cheaper, and they could probably use a lot more practical
What
effects.
happened to the other half of the ship? It went to the black hole.
That or Justin back on Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
So who knows? Who knows? I'll let you go first then with your rating, sir.
Rating wise, okay. So you already heard what I was saying. I think there are better films of this nature. Pandorum being one of them. I guess it is newer than I thought it was. Hellraiser, just because if I'm going to watch a Hellraiser movie, and if I'm going to watch a Hellraiser movie in space, I'm probably going to watch Hellraiser Bloodlines. That being said, I enjoy Event Horizon. I need to watch the 4K cut edit to see how the special effects look to compare. But my complaint is that a lot of the CGI effects do not hold up in the version that I watched. But I can't hold that entirely against the film because the cast is great, the acting is great, the story is pretty badass. I'm going to give it a solid 3.7.
Interesting. All right, so my pick, and again, love sci-fi, love horror. This is both of those in one shot. It is like Hellraiser in space, but in this instance, I wouldn't choose Bloodline over it.
I would probably rate Bloodline at the same position as this. So
fair. I already had in my mind a 3.8 nerds, so we're right in.
We're right
in line with each other for this. I could not have been happier when I first saw this. You got to remember, so if it came out in '97, I saw it once in the theater, saw it once again on VHS, and then I haven't seen it till recent for this. And so I couldn't have been happier getting to see that 4K version. Couldn't have been happier seeing how it aged, noticing the thing, like we one of our words we always hone on and beat on is pacing. This movie I felt paced very well.
It's not bad.
No,
it's not bad.
There's definitely, there's some other things I would have edited out besides 30 minutes of the gore and violence. But all in all, though, solid movie, sticking with a 3.8.
Yeah. No, I mean, I watched 3 movies last night, and really 3.5 of what we had selected. Because I finished this yesterday, and then I watched the other 2 after I talked to you, and then the 4th one that I had already watched before I left for tour, I ended up watching half of it again last night too. And every movie that I watched for the next 4 episodes that we're getting ready to record, I think the pacing was pretty amazing in all 4 films. I don't think I had a complaint with pacing wise for anything.
No. Solid picks all around, I felt. It was definitely good. Now, if James were here...
let's give a James rating.
What the fuck did you guys make me watch? 0.678934286.
I was actually going to say his rating would probably be a 1.8059 20, mainly because the cast. He probably would have given it a little higher.
You're missed, James. We're going too easy on this movie. We both agree. Everything's kind. So yeah.
I'm having to be the asshole here and saying, "Oh, there's a better version of this in Hellraiser."
That's what he thinks. But anyways, and Hellraiser. Let me give you this too. In this, Hellraiser is my favorite horror franchise of all time. So that says a lot that I'm saying this.
Yeah, I can't agree with that either.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
and you like Scream, so yeah. That's cool.
Well,
no? Chucky's your favorite, right?
Chucky and Friday 13th are my top two.
I mean, they're all good.
They're all good. Yeah. I don't dislike Hellraiser, but I put Hellraiser above Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm so funny you say that. My wife only remembered a couple of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, so I'm making her rewatch the entire franchise up to Jason vs. Freddy. Mm-hmm. So we're watching through that, and I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
There are some really hard parts to watch as I'm watching. Not in it's good. It's like it's so bad.
The crazy thing about Nightmare on Elm Street is there's so many things in that series that most people who know me and know my taste in films will be like, this should be your favorite. The crazy one-liners, Robert Englund being just amazing in every one of them. He really is. He embodies the character Freddy Krueger, and somehow that series falls to the bottom of the list for me with the icon slasher films. And it's not that I absolutely hate it, but I think Hellraiser's better. I think Phantasm's better. I think Chucky's better. I think Michael Myers is better. I think Friday the 13th is better.
I don't think Chucky's better. I mean, I know you do. I know you do. Chucky's right there with it for me, but there's some good things to say about Chucky, just like there's some good things about Nightmare on Elm Street. And Nightmare on Elm Street, if I'm being honest, like the whole concept, the whole path of dreams and there being a demon who controls them, and you're in this situation where you feel like you're just there's no way out, you're gonna die.
Yeah,
that's scary shit.
No, it is. It's terrifying. But somehow they make it to where it does not functionally work for me as a fan. And I say that as I don't hate it, but it's my least favorite. And I've rewatched all of them pretty recently.
Yeah,
too.
no, I think we just got through 5.
Yeah, and honestly, the best of all of them is Dream Warriors Part 3.
Dream Warriors, and I will say, is it the Dream Master Part 4?
Part 4.
I enjoyed Part 4 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has Dramarama with anything in it. And
yeah.
I thought it was 3, but you're right. And when it started playing, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But well, we rambled enough about that. We gave you guys the our ratings on this. So if you guys have any thoughts, any things you guys want to convey to us, talk to us about suggestions, 3cinenerds@gmail.com is the email. You can find any of our areas that we stream, I can't talk today.
Blah, 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 blah,
right,
blah,
blah, blah. Anywhere that you listen to your podcast, just go check out our bio on our Facebook page, and you'll see a link to that streaming platform. That aside, we also have our merch link in there, so check out some CineNerds merch.
Leave a review. Write us a review. You can write it on Facebook. You can write it on Apple Podcasts. You can just write a comment on the YouTube episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, please, if you follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcasts, follow us on whatever podcast site, not just YouTube. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify or wherever, go to our YouTube, hit subscribe. Give us as many subscribers and followers as you can. Share everything you can. Let's continue to build this fan base.
Completely agree. Like, share, follow, give that review. We'll shut up on that note because we got some more to film today. So you have a wonderful and joyous day.
Later.
Later.